All right, welcome to the studio. Let's talk about creative exhaustion. The problem that we have sometimes in this modern day society is the inability to be with tiredness, the inability to truly rest. We are organic and cyclical beings reflecting the earth, just as the earth has her seasons. Our nervous system has its cycles, our emotions have their moods and waves, and so does our creative life. And so naturally we have a creative summer, and that's where we flourish with our ideas and we feel inspired, and then sometimes that dips and we find ourselves maybe suddenly less inspired, maybe a bit dull, a bit flat, not wanting to create. We feel like, oh, what can I do to move back into that high summer of excitement, of creation? Now I feel dull, now I feel bored, now I feel like I don't want to create. And that is completely normal. The void that comes after a spark of vitality and inspiration is part of us being a cyclical being. And it is only when we try to run from it, when we resist it in some way, that we actually elongate our burnout. We're only told to march on, right? To keep being productive, and it's something wrong if you suddenly feel very exhausted, and there is a reason that we have our inner creative winters, and the teachings of this exhaustion are actually a deeper listening. Our tiredness invites us in to learn how to truly rest fully. Not to rest halfway, but still scroll on Instagram or plan your future, or still try to read self-improvement books or whatnot. But true rest, of just letting everything go, letting your grip open. Feeling the gravity of your body resting on the ground, feeling the pores on your skin open. And here, with rest, we enter a deeper state of receptivity where we start to notice the little mundane, magical details of our life. Maybe how the light plays in a certain angle, or how our coffee cup lays on the table and it just looks beautiful that way, or a bird's song. We start to get inspired by these little blissful moments in daily life. And in that way, we're actually sowing the seeds of our creativity through the winter, through the tiredness. In the background, our psyche is given rest. The body is given rest. And so the heart blooms and dances in the ethers, and it starts to weave stories. It starts to weave creations that in the right time, when your summer arises again, they bloom and they open again. And this is not a conscious process. You're not there trying to gather and harvest ideas. It's just naturally what happens through the soul when we allow ourselves a state of expansion, relaxation, and receiving. Because if we were always in a transmitting state, in this kind of giving state, we wouldn't have time to receive, and inspiration can only be received. And so I noticed with myself, when I have honored the rest in my creative journey, that's when the richest, most precise artworks have come through for me. When my vitality returned and I felt like creating again, the works were potent because they'd been brewing for a long time, and I wasn't leaking energy outwards by avoiding rest. And I believe a big reason why we're not taught to rest is because inherently it feels like emptiness or a void after productivity, right? And that makes us uncomfortable because we feel like, oh, that's a lack of sensation. But actually it's not. If we move past the layers of uncomfortableness and agitation, there's deep gold and peace when we've stopped transmitting or producing and we're just tired. We lean into that. Our body opens in a beautiful way into a deeper, more subtle communion with the world and with life, into really honoring when there is need for rest, and knowing that it is so crucial and holy in its own right. You know, we know how to be with our inner summer. We know how to be when we have deep vitality. And now we learn how to be with the yin, with the opposite movement. You know, we expand and then we contract, but there's lessons in contraction, and if we don't contract, we cannot fully and properly expand. For rest and tiredness, they are teachers here. They are gateways that invite us into a deeper receptivity, a slower rhythm. You know, everything must come into balance, and if we've moved through a cycle of transmitting, of output, there's always then a need to bring back into the inner waters, a place of regeneration, of filling up our own vessel. And when we listen to the needs, these needs, then our creative cycles start to flow in their own seasons, and we're just surrendered. We're surrendered to these different seasons moving us and teaching us different things. And that's how we develop stamina as an artist. That's how we develop strength. That's how we develop consistency in our work, because we allow space for emptiness away from stimuli or creating. And then when we do create and we show up, the works are precise, they are rich, they are tactile. And so let us take it as a dear friend and mentor and teacher in our creative journey and in our lives, because the fruits of listening to inner winter are incredible. In the life of an artist, through the cycles we live, we must have periods of non-creation. It's only natural, and they help and refine our work. So if you find yourself in that process, in that cycle, honor it, live through it, come into contact with it, really touch it, be with it, face it rather than looking away or needing to change it. Really communicate with it as a being, and you will see that as you feel your way through it and listen to it, it will guide you through. We nourish, we regenerate that aspect of us that is tired. We inevitably return to our vitality. So listen deeply, love, and let yourself be carried by the lullaby of this creative rest. So yes, this is, this little video about our creative health. I'll probably be speaking more about these things as they come up, as I keep painting and creating. I'll share more of my reflections. If there's something you want me to speak on or touch on, you can leave it in the comments. I'm happy to share my thoughts and opinions. Have a beautiful day, my loves. Enjoy your rest and the gentle embrace of this present moment and all the subtle realities it contains.